Okay, so that was actually a clip from a TV show called The Good Place, in which one of the main characters was a moral philosophy professor. But it has a really nice description of the trolley problem. The problem in the trolley problem is whether or not to pull the lever. So the problem is, should we intentionally kill one person if it would spare the lives of 5 other people? Thinking back to our 3 main ethical theories, virtue ethics, deontology, and consequentialism, which of these 3 theories do you think the trolley problem thought experiment was devised to challenge? The trolley problem thought experiment was devised to challenge consequentialism. So it looks like on the face of it, consequentialists would have to say that you'd be morally required to pull the lever and to intentionally kill one person in order to spare the lives of 5 people. The thought experiment, the trolley problem itself, wasn't necessarily put forth with a solution in mind. Rather, the purpose was just to get us to think about these kinds of situations and to think about the implications of a theory like consequentialism. So, thought experiments like the trolley problem are sometimes criticized for being too abstract and not having a close enough connection to the real world to actually be relevant or to be of any value. And this is a really fair criticism, especially of some thought experiments that seem almost irrelevant because they're so far removed from the real world. And recently, philosophy has been moving away from thought experiments and into real-world experiments to test philosophical theories. So that's a criticism of the trolley problem. When are most people going to be in a situation in which they'll have to choose between letting 5 people die and killing one person? But something has happened in recent history, a certain technological innovation, that has revived the debate around the trolley problem. So there's something that's happened that has given this a resurgence, where we actually have to think about situations like this. Can you think of a technological innovation that would make something like the trolley problem really relevant in either today or in the next few years? So there might be a couple good answers here. What I was thinking of, and something that's really prompted this resurgence in discussions of the trolley problem, is self-driving cars. So if you think about it, if you were in the situation, if you were driving the trolley or driving a car and faced with a decision like this, you'd make that decision in a split second, and you really couldn't be held morally responsible for the decision that you make. In most cases, choosing between 2 bad things, there's not necessarily a way to know what the best course of action is. And that's what's made the trolley problem stand out, is that it's a really good problem. We still don't have an answer to it. So the problem now is that self-driving cars have to be programmed to behave or to act in a certain way, to do a certain thing in a situation like this. So we need to talk about the trolley problem more and see if we can figure out what is the right thing to do and how we should program self-driving cars to handle situations like these. So that's the trolley problem. It's a really famous thought experiment. It hasn't gone away in the 50-some years since it was first published. And we've actually seen an increase in its relevance in the last few years. So now the trolley problem is something that not just philosophers, but also people who are programming self-driving cars and the people who buy self-driving cars have to think about the implications of in order to go forth with these innovations. Okay, so that's it for our small introduction into value theory. In the next video, we're going to talk about epistemology and philosophy of mind, and then we'll wrap up with metaphysics and ontology.